The year was 2137. The stars no longer just twinkled in the night sky. They held promise, civilizations, and now, for the first time, a formal invitation. John Carter adjusted his tie for the 5th time. The mirror showed a man in his 40s, with kind eyes and graying hair at his temples. As Earth's top diplomat, he had negotiated peace treaties during the water wars. But today was different. Today he would speak to beings from other worlds. "Are you ready?" Lisa Brooks asked. The scientist stood at the doorway, her tablet clutched tightly to her chest. Her dark hair was pulled back, and her eyes reflected both excitement and worry. "As ready as anyone can be to meet aliens," John replied with a small smile. Their ship, the EDF Horizon, had traveled for 3 weeks to reach the meeting point, a massive space station that orbited a neutral star. The journey alone had been remarkable. Humanity had only developed faster than light travel 15 years ago. Captain Frank Miller's voice came over the intercom. "We're docking in 5 minutes. The welcome party is waiting." John took a deep breath. "Let's make history." The airlock hissed open. John and Lisa stepped through into a chamber larger than any stadium on Earth. The ceiling stretched so high it seemed to disappear. And there, waiting in a half-circle, stood representatives of the Galactic Council. There were tall, slender beings with 4 arms and skin that shifted colors. Others looked like walking trees with eyes embedded in their bark. Some floated in containment suits filled with strange liquids. 27 species in total, according to their briefing. A being stepped forward. It had blue-gray skin and large black eyes that reflected light like pools of oil. "Welcome, humans," it said, its voice translated through the devices in John and Lisa's ears. "I am High Speaker Zedex Thalim of the Galactic Council. We have watched your species for some time." Lisa whispered to John. "They've been watching us?" The High Speaker's mouth formed what might have been a smile. "Your radio signals reached us long before you developed space travel. We find your entertainment broadcasts amusing." Several of the aliens made sounds that the translators didn't catch. John realized they were laughing. "We are honored to meet you," John said, bowing slightly. "We come with peaceful intentions and hope to learn from the Council." ZX Thalim gestured with a long, 6-fingered hand. "The Council has granted humans observer status. You may attend meetings but cannot vote. This is standard for new species." John nodded, though he noticed the word "new" seemed to carry extra meaning. Lisa was scanning the aliens with her tablet, her scientist's curiosity overriding protocol. "We accept and are grateful," John replied. The tour that followed showed them technology beyond Earth's understanding. Gravity controls that made sections of the station heavier or lighter, food synthesizers that could create any meal from base elements, medical facilities that could regrow limbs. "Your species has developed quickly," said a creature that resembled a large insect with gem-like eyes. "Most take thousands of years to reach space after discovering electricity." "Humans are adaptable," Lisa said. "We face problems and find solutions." "Yes," the insect-like being clicked. "Adaptability is notable." Later, after the humans were shown to their quarters, the council members gathered in a private chamber. "These humans worry me," said Kratal, the military advisor of the arthropoid. "Max Tari. They developed faster than light travel only centuries after their first combustion engines. They are resilient too," added Alora, the plant-like Fatalan representative. "Their planet has suffered climate disasters, yet they survived and expanded." ZX Thalim raised a hand for silence. "They are curious and intelligent, yes. But they are also divided among themselves and technologically far behind us. They pose no threat." "So were the Dreviks," Kratal reminded them, "before they nearly destroyed 3 systems in their expansion." "We will watch them," Zixthalim concluded. "For now, they are merely observers, entertaining ones at that." On the human vessel, John and Lisa reviewed their first contact. "They think we're primitive," Lisa said. "Did you see how they laughed?" John nodded slowly. "Yes, and that might be our biggest advantage. They don't expect much from us." Lisa looked at the stars through their viewport. What do we do now? We learn, John said. We adapt, and we make sure humanity finds its place among the stars. Neither of them could have known that in just 5 years the Council's amusement would turn to concern, and in 10, to fear. 5 years passed quickly. The Earth had changed. The news of alien life had first shocked, then united humanity like never before. 3 colony ships had left for nearby star systems that the Council had marked as available for settlement. New Mars, Eden, and Liberty were now home to over 50,000 humans. Samantha Wells wiped sweat from her forehead as she made final adjustments to her engine. The workshop on New Mars was hot, despite the best cooling systems they could build. Outside, the red dust of the planet swirled in the thin atmosphere they were slowly changing to be more like Earth's. "Try it now," she called to her assistant. The engine hummed to life. Blue energy pulsed through its core. On the screens, numbers flashed that made Samantha smile. "We did it," she said. 300% more efficient than the Council standard. Her assistant whistled. They said the Ilthian drive couldn't be improved. "They were wrong," Samantha replied, patting the engine, "and we're just getting started." On Earth, in the underground base beneath the Rocky Mountains, Greg Harrison watched as the newest ships of the Earth Defense Fleet took shape. The Council had suggested that Earth limit its military to 20 ships. Greg had nodded politely at the alien ambassador and then ordered 50 to be built in secret. "The Viper class is ready for testing, sir," said his aide. Greg nodded. The ships were smaller than Council vessels but faster and with better stealth systems. His time studying alien military records had taught him one thing: each species fought according to their strengths. Humans would do the same. "Begin the test flights tonight," he ordered. "Keep them in the shadow of Jupiter." On the Council station, Ambassador Alan White sat across from 3 alien representatives. The trade agreement on the table would give Earth access to medical technology that could extend human life by decades. "This seems most beneficial to humans," said the Maxtari representative, clicking his mandibles. Alan smiled. "In return, we offer our art, music, and literature. I understand many Council species find human creativity unique." What he didn't mention was that the medical devices could be studied and improved, just as Samantha had improved the engines. Humans were getting very good at learning from alien technology. "Acceptable," the Maxtari clicked, not realizing what they were really giving away. Later that day, in a private Council chamber, several members gathered to discuss the human issue. "They have established 3 colonies in 5 years, said Alora, the Faudalan. "Most species take decades to build one successful colony." Krytal paced the room, his hard exoskeleton clicking against the floor. "Their military grows as well. They say they have 20 ships as recommended, but our intelligence suggests more. And their engineer, this Samantha Wells, has modified our technology, added a floating sphere that contained the gaseous form of a heliox. Her engine design exceeds our efficiency standards." ZX Thalim, who had been high speaker when humans first arrived, looked troubled. "Perhaps we made an error in judgment. Humans adapt faster than expected. They are still primitive compared to most Council races," said a new voice. Dralvor of the Vrel entered the chamber, his scaled skin reflecting the light. "They are simply copying what we give them, like children playing with toys. Children grow up," Krytal warned. Dralvor made a dismissive gesture with his clawed hand. "My species has ruled sectors of space for 10,000 years. These humans have barely left their planet. They are no threat to the Council or to the Vrel." "Then why?" asked Zexthalim quietly. "Do they make me uneasy?" On New Mars, Samantha installed her improved engine in the first colony ship built entirely off Earth. It would travel twice as fast as any previous human vessel. On Earth, Greg Harrison watched as 20 new stealth fighters joined the fleet hidden among the moons of Jupiter. And in deep space, on a path that would soon cross with a human mining operation, a Vrel battlecruiser moved with purpose. Its commander had orders to remind the humans of their place in the galactic order, None of them knew that the human problem was about to become a galactic crisis. The mining colony on Proxima B was small but important. 50 miners worked the rich veins of rare metals that Earth and its colonies needed. The planet orbited close to its red dwarf star, with one side always facing the sun. The miners worked in the twilight zone where the temperature was bearable. Jack Walsh checked the reading on his scanner again. Something was wrong. The colony's long-range sensors had picked up an object approaching fast. "Control, this is Walsh at Station 4. I'm getting weird readings here." The voice of Susan Lee, the colony director, crackled through his helmet. "All stations are showing the same. We have a ship approaching. It's not one of ours." Jack looked up at the dark sky. A bright light was growing larger. "What do we do?" "We've sent a message to Earth," Susan replied. "For now, we continue working." But work stopped 30 minutes later when the ship came into clear view. It was huge, at least 5 times bigger than any human vessel Jack had seen. Its hull was covered in what looked like spikes, and it had a predatory shape that made Jack think of sharks. "That's a Vrel warship," said Otto, an older miner who had served on the council station for a year. "They don't come to talk." The ship stopped directly above the main colony building. A message boomed from it, so loud that it vibrated through the ground. "Humans of Proxima Mining Colony, you are extracting resources from a sector claimed by the Vrel Dominion. Cease all operations and prepare for inspection." In the colony control room, Susan Lee frowned at the message. "We have council permission to mine here. This sector isn't claimed by anyone." She opened a channel to the Vrel ship. "This is Director Susan Lee of the Proxima Mining Colony. We have proper permits from the Galactic Council to operate here. Please check your records." There was a long pause before the reply came. "Your primitive species does not understand galactic law. The Vrel claim supersedes Council authorization. Prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will be met with force." Susan looked at her team. "Send an emergency signal to Earth now." 12 light hours away near Jupiter, Captain Kate Morgan was running battle drills on the EDF Defiance when the alert came through. She read it twice to be sure. "Set course for Proxima B, maximum speed," she ordered. "And alert all ships in the sector. We have a colony under threat from a Vrel warship." Her second-in-command looked worried. "Captain, Council rules say we need authorization before responding to interspecies conflicts." Kate's eyes narrowed. "Those are our people. We're not waiting for a committee to decide if we can protect them." The Defiance jumped to FTL speed, its improved engines propelling it faster than any council ship could travel. Back at Proxima B, 3 Vrel had entered the colony. They were tall, scaled beings with 4 arms and narrow reptilian heads. The leader looked down at Susan with yellow eyes. "Your operation will be shut down," he said. "The resources you have mined will be confiscated as payment for your trespass." Susan stood her ground. "We have documented permission from the council. If you have a dispute, take it up with them." The Vrel commander made a sound that might have been laughter. "By the time the council debates this matter, we will have stripped this outpost bare. Your species is too new to understand how things really work in the galaxy." Outside, Jack and the other miners watched as more Vrel ships appeared in the sky. They were smaller than the warship but still heavily armed. "They're going to take everything," Otto said bitterly. Jack checked his emergency communicator. It showed a message from Colony Control. "Help is coming. Stall them." Just as the Vrel began loading the stored ore onto their ships, new lights appeared in the sky. The EDF Defiance dropped out of FTL, followed by 3 smaller human ships. "Kate," Morgan's voice transmitted to both the colony and the Vrel ships. "This is Captain Kate Morgan of the Earth Defense Fleet. The Proxima Mining Colony is under human protection. Remove your forces immediately." The Vrel commander responded with anger. "This matter does not concern the Earth military. Leave this system or face consequences." Kate's reply was calm but firm. "You have 30 seconds to begin withdrawal." The Vrel responded by powering up their weapons. "So be it," Kate said. Then to her crew, "Deploy the fighters. Use the pattern we practiced. Let's show them why you don't threaten humans." The battle that followed would change how the galaxy viewed humanity forever. News of the Proxima incident spread quickly through the galaxy. The Varel had retreated, their ships damaged, their pride wounded. Humans had won a battle against a species that had been spacefaring for thousands of years. The Council could not ignore it. In the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, high, Speaker ZX Thalim stood on the central platform. Representatives from all 27 council species sat in curved rows around him. At the edge of the chamber, in the observer section, sat Daniel Clark, Earth's new representative. The actions taken by Earth's military were unauthorized, ZX Thalim said, his voice echoing through the vast room. Council protocol requires approval before armed response to interspecies conflicts. Daniel Clark stood, his calm face betraying none of his thoughts. The Earth Defense Fleet responded to an emergency distress call from our citizens. The Vrel were attempting to illegally seize a legal mining operation. We have the right to protect our people. Dralvor, the Vrel representative, rose from his seat. His scales seemed darker today, a sign of anger among his kind. The humans attacked our ships without warning. They used weapons and tactics that violated Council standards. Their ships moved in patterns that made our targeting systems useless. They fired from ranges that should not have been possible for their technology level. Daniel smiled slightly. We developed those capabilities ourselves. There is no law against innovation. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Many species looked unsettled. Exthalim raised his hands for silence. The Council has reached a decision. Earth will be formally censured for military action without approval. Additionally, all human ships must now carry Council observers to prevent further incidents. Daniel's expression didn't change. I will convey this to my government. They will consider your recommendation. This is not a recommendation, ZX Thalim said sharply. It is a requirement for continued Council association. Daniel nodded politely and sat down, but he made no promise. As the session ended, Daniel walked to the transit bay where his shuttle waited. He noticed how other representatives moved away from him, how conversations stopped when he passed. On his shuttle, he encrypted a message to Earth. They fear us now. Proceed with caution. Meanwhile, in a secure lab deep under Geneva, Peter Wright studied the alien data crystal he had obtained through unofficial channels. The information confirmed what he had suspected. The Council had been selectively sharing technology with humans, holding back advancements that could make Earth truly competitive. Look at this, he said to his colleague. They have medical tech that could extend our lives by centuries, not just decades, and energy systems that make our best look primitive. His colleague frowned. Why keep these from us? The Council is supposed to help newer species advance. Peter's laugh was without humor. They help species advance at the pace they decide is appropriate. They've been controlling technological development across the galaxy for millennia. In another part of the complex, Maria Rodriguez adjusted her headset. As Earth's lead communications specialist, she had developed a way to intercept and decode Council transmissions. What she was hearing now made her blood run cold. Director, she called to her superior. You need to hear this. The recording played, translated into English. The human problem requires more aggressive containment. Their rapid advancement threatens the established order. We recommend a resolution to limit their expansion by force if necessary. The director's face darkened. Who sent this message? It's from a closed council session, Maria replied. Multiple species were present, including the Vrel, the Maxtari, and the Ilthians. Even the Fautilans agreed, and they're usually on our side. Does Earth Representative Clark know about this? Maria shook her head. This was deliberately kept from him. Send this to the President and the Defense Council immediately, the director ordered. And keep listening. We need to know what they're planning. 2 days later, the Galactic Council formally announced sanctions against Earth. All technology transfers would be halted. Human ships would be restricted to Earth's solar system until proper oversight could be established. Daniel Clark stood before the council, his face still calm despite the harsh penalties. "Earth respectfully declines these sanctions," he said, simply. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. No species had ever rejected Council sanctions. "You have no choice," Zixthalim said. "The Council has decided." Daniel looked around the room, making eye contact with several representatives. "There is always a choice. Earth will continue its development and expansion as an independent entity." As he walked out of the chamber, Daniel knew that a line had been crossed. The Council would not take this challenge lightly, but neither would Earth back down. The Council expected Earth to back down within days. No species had ever defied Council sanctions and succeeded. They expected desperate messages, pleas for negotiation, perhaps even a formal apology. Instead, Earth went silent. It began without warning. At exactly 0300 Universal Standard Time, all human communications across the galaxy stopped. The Earth embassy on the Council station was found empty, all personnel gone. Every human trade ship in alien space changed course and headed toward Earth or human colonies. The observation satellites the Council had placed near Earth suddenly went dark. In his private chambers, Zixthalim stared at the reports with growing concern. "When did we last receive any signal from human space?" he asked his aide. 17 hours ago, High Speaker. Their colonies have also gone silent. We have lost all monitoring capability within their territory." Zixthalim paced the room. "Send a diplomatic vessel to Earth. We need to know what they're doing." The Fatalan vessel Sunseeker approached Earth's solar system 3 days later. It was met at the edge by an automated beacon. "This is an automated message from Earth Central. Command: all non-human vessels are prohibited from entering the Sol system until further notice. This is not a negotiable position. Any attempt to proceed beyond this point will be considered a hostile action." The Fotulan captain ordered his ship to move closer, to test if the warning was serious. Immediately, defense platforms that had not been there before appeared from behind stealth fields. They locked weapons on the Sunseeker but did not fire. The captain ordered an immediate retreat. Similar scenes played out at all human colonies. No alien ships were allowed to approach. No communications were accepted. It was as if humanity had collectively decided to cut itself off from the rest of the galaxy. 1 week into the silence, the Council held an emergency session. "This behavior is unprecedented," said the Heliox representative, its gaseous form swirling with agitation inside. "Its containment sphere. No species has ever simply withdrawn from the galactic community. It is merely a tantrum," Dralvor of the Vrel insisted. "They will return when they realize they need Council resources." Kratal, the Maxtari military advisor, clicked his mandibles nervously. "I am not so certain. Our last intelligence reports before the silence indicated that humans had been stockpiling resources and accelerating their military production." "For what purpose?" asked a new representative, a crystalline being from a silicon-based species. "Unknown," Kratal admitted, "but concerning. In the second week of silence, Council intelligence reported that several non-Council species had been seen entering human space. They were allowed passage when all Council ships were turned away. By the third week, rumors spread through the galaxy. A merchant from the Rim territories claimed to have seen vast energy signatures within human territory, like they're building something big, really big. A minor official from the Ilthian delegation approached Zixthalim privately. "High Speaker, our deep space sensors have detected unusual energy patterns in the human colonies. They appear to be expanding." "Expanding how?" Zixthalim asked. "They are terraforming 2 new planets simultaneously. This should be beyond their capability, and there are signs of large-scale construction in orbit around at least 5 worlds." Zixthalim felt a chill he could not explain. "Continue monitoring. Report anything unusual directly to me." As the silence entered its 4th week, the first real panic began to spread through the Council. The Vrel, who had been most dismissive of human capabilities, suddenly announced they were reinforcing their borders near human space. Other species followed suit. Military vessels that had been scattered across the galaxy were recalled to protect homeworlds. Trade routes were altered to avoid human territory. No one knew what humanity was planning. The silence itself had become a weapon, more effective than any fleet. The fear of what might emerge from human space when the silence ended grew with each passing day. In a private meeting of the Council's inner circle, Kratal finally voiced what many were thinking. "We may have made a grave error in our assessment of humans," he said. "They are not like other species we have encountered. They do not think as we do." "What do you suggest?" Zixthalium asked. "Prepare for the worst," Kratal replied, "and hope we have not created an enemy we cannot defeat." Unknown to the Council, deep within human space, humanity was indeed preparing, but not in the way anyone expected. 3 weeks into the human silence, the Council was no longer just concerned. They were afraid. "Another report, High Speaker," said the aide, placing a datapad before Zexthalim. "The Ilthians have detected massive energy signatures within human territory. Their deep space sensors show activity around all 5 human worlds simultaneously." Gadalim's large black eyes reflected the glow of the datapad as he studied the readings. "These power levels should not be possible for their technology. There's more," the aide continued. 3 non-council species have been granted access to human space: the Novan traders, the Durid engineers, and the Wek scientists. "The outcasts," Zixthalim murmured. Each of these species had applied for council membership in the past and been rejected for various reasons. In the council military headquarters, Kratal studied the tactical display with growing alarm. The screen showed the known galaxy, with council space in blue, human territory in red, and neutral areas in gray. What worried him was how the red area had not only maintained its borders, but showed signs of expansion. "They're building something in orbit around New Mars," said his intelligence officer, pointing to a blinking dot on the display. "Our long-range scans can't identify it, but it's big, larger than any human construction we've observed before." Kratal clicked his mandibles in agitation. "And these?" He pointed to several other blinking dots scattered through human space. "Similar constructions. All began after the silence started." Kratal's compound eyes narrowed. "Have they moved any military vessels to their borders?" "That's the strange part," the officer replied. "We've detected no significant fleet movements. In fact, we've lost track of most of their military ships. They seem to have disappeared." This news disturbed Kratal more than any show of force would have. When preparing for war, most species made visible displays of their military might to intimidate opponents. The humans were doing the opposite. Fear spread quickly among the council species. Public spaces that had once bustled with interspecies commerce and conversation grew quieter as many returned to their home systems. Military vessels that normally patrolled trade routes were recalled to protect homeworlds. On Vrel Prime, the Dominion's Central Command met in their war chamber. Dralvor, who had once dismissed humans as primitive, now pounded his fist on the table. "We should strike now before they complete whatever they are building," he hissed. "Our battle fleets are ready." An older Vrel, her scales faded with age, shook her head. "We do not know what we would be attacking. Our scouts cannot penetrate human space to gather intelligence. We would be fighting blind." "Then what do you suggest, Elder?" Dralvor asked bitterly. "Patience," she replied. "Let the humans make the first move." In a dusty bar on the edge of council space, a small blue alien with 4 eyes leaned toward his drinking companion, a member of the insectoid Zivaran species. "Heard the latest?" the blue alien whispered. "Someone got footage of a human ship, one of the new ones they built after the silence." The Zivaran's antennae twitched with interest. "Show me." The blue alien looked around nervously, then projected a small hologram from his wrist device. The image showed a sleek vessel, unlike any human ship previously seen. Its hull appeared to be made of a material that absorbed light rather than reflected. Its design was predatory, elegant, and completely unfamiliar. "That can't be human-made," the Zivaran said. "Their technology isn't that advanced." "It is now," the blue alien insisted. "And word is they have hundreds like it." The footage spread. across the galaxy despite Council attempts to suppress it. Fear turned to panic on some worlds. Ancient species that had felt secure in their technological superiority for thousands of years now looked to the stars with new unease. In the Council's inner chamber, Thalim met with representatives from the 5 oldest and most powerful council species. "We must prepare for the possibility that when the humans break their silence it will not be peaceful," said the Ilthian delegate, its crystalline body glittering in the chamber's light. "What could they possibly hope to achieve?" asked the Faudolan. "Even with advanced ships they are one species against 27. Kratal, who had been invited to provide military insight, spoke quietly. "Perhaps that is what we should fear most, that they believe they can stand against us all." As the discussion continued, an aide rushed into the chamber, a serious breach of protocol that silenced everyone. "High Speaker," the aide said, breathing hard, "a human ship has appeared at the edge of Council space. Just one. It's requesting permission to dock at the station." "After 2 months of silence?" Thalim asked, surprised. "Yes, High Speaker. They say they bring a message from Earth." Thalim looked around at the gathered representatives. Their expressions ranged from fear to curiosity to outright hostility. "Let them come," he said finally. "It's time we learned what the humans have been planning." The human ship that arrived at Galactus Prime was not what anyone expected. Where Council species had anticipated a show of force, perhaps one of the new fearsome vessels they had glimpsed in leaked footage, they instead saw a single diplomatic vessel. It was sleek but modest in size, bearing the emblem of the Earth Alliance on its hull. The Council station's docking bay was crowded with security forces when the ship arrived. Armed guards from 6 different species formed a tight perimeter. Behind them stood curious onlookers, officials, and diplomats, all eager to see the humans who had caused such fear with their silence. The ship's airlock opened slowly. A woman stepped out alone. She wore a simple dark blue uniform with silver trim. Her posture was straight, her expression calm. The name badge on her uniform read, Admiral Olivia Bennett. Thalim stepped forward to meet her, flanked by Kratal and representatives from the inner council. "Admiral Bennett," he said, his translator conveying his words in standard galactic. "The council welcomes you after your long silence." Olivia looked at him with steady eyes. "High Speaker, I appreciate your willingness to receive me." "You come alone?" Kratal asked, his mandibles clicking with suspicion. "For now," she replied. "I request an emergency session of the full council. I bring important information." The grand chamber of the council had never been so full. All 27 species were present, with their full delegations. The observation areas overflowed with other aliens eager to hear what the human would say. The silence that had terrified the galaxy for 2 months was about to be explained. Admiral Bennett stood in the center of the chamber, looking small but unafraid beneath the towering ceiling. Her voice when she spoke carried clearly to every corner of the room. "For 5 years, humanity has participated in the galactic community in good faith," she began. "We followed your rules. We accepted your guidance. We shared our culture, our art, our unique perspectives." She paused, letting her words settle. "In return, we were denied equal access to technology. We were limited in our expansion. And when we defended our citizens from illegal aggression, we were sanctioned." Murmurs spread through the chamber, but no one interrupted. "Still, we might have continued to work within your system," Bennett continued, "until we discovered this." She activated a small device she carried. A hologram appeared above her, showing recorded conversations between council members. Secret meetings where the human problem was discussed. Plans to limit human growth, to keep Earth dependent on the council, even discussions of military action if humans became too advanced. "These discussions occurred without our knowledge," Bennett said as the recordings played. "They reveal a coordinated effort by certain council members to suppress human development." The chamber erupted in chaos. Some representatives shouted, "Denials." Others looked away in shame. A few seemed genuinely shocked by the revelations. Thalim raised his hands for silence. "These are serious accusations, Admiral. How did you obtain these recordings?" We have our methods, Bennett replied simply, just as we have our methods of advancement that you consistently underestimated. She turned to face the entire council. When we discovered this conspiracy, Earth had a choice. We could fight you, and, make no mistake, we have developed the capability to fight effectively, or we could take another path. She touched her device again. A new hologram appeared showing massive orbital structures around the human colonies. This is what we built during our silence, she said. Not weapons of war, but a new kind of FTL, communication network, a planetary shield system, terraforming accelerators, medical facilities that can serve all species. The images changed, showing humans working alongside the non-council species that had been allowed into their territory. We created technologies that benefit all, not just ourselves. We formed partnerships with species the council rejected. We built a future based on cooperation rather than control. Kratel stepped forward. If this is true, why the silence? Why the secrecy? Bennett's expression remained steady. Because we needed to be sure we could protect ourselves if this meeting went poorly. The silence was both a test and a precaution. She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of various representatives. Today I extend an invitation. Earth and its allies propose a restructuring of the Council, equal representation for all species, shared technology development, true cooperation. She paused again. Or if you prefer, we can simply go our separate way. The Earth Alliance and our non-council partners will continue our development independently. The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then unexpectedly, the representative of the Fotulans stood. I have seen enough, the plant-like being said. The Fotulans vote to hear the human proposal in full. Others began to stand as well. Not all, but more than half. Yesek Thalim looked at the human admiral with new understanding. It seems the council is interested in your proposal, Admiral Bennett. Bennett nodded. Then let me show you what humanity has really been doing during our silence. The images she displayed next would change the galaxy forever. 1 year after Admiral Bennett's presentation to the Council, the galaxy was a different place. The grand chamber that had once been filled with fear now buzzed with activity of a different kind. Representatives from 52 species, nearly twice the original Council membership, gathered for the signing of the new Galactic Charter. Thalim, who remained as High Speaker by popular vote, stood at the center of the chamber. Beside him stood Admiral Bennett and leaders from the former non-council species that had allied with humans during the silence. Today marks the beginning of a true galactic community, Zexithalim announced, one built on shared knowledge, mutual respect, and equal standing. The first change was visible in the chamber itself. No longer were species seated according to their age or technological advancement. The circular arrangement now placed all representatives on the same level. As the ceremony proceeded, Sam Chen approached Greg Harrison at the Earth delegations area. Both had been promoted since the silence ended. Sam now led Earth's engineering corps while Greg commanded the defense fleet. Did you ever think we'd end up here? Sam asked, watching as species that had once feared humans now worked alongside them. Greg shook his head. Never. I was preparing for war, not this. That's why it worked, said a voice behind them. They turned to see Peter Wright, whose discovery of the Council's technology suppression had helped spark the silence. The Council feared us because they couldn't understand us. They expected either submission or aggression, not creation. At a nearby table, Maria Rodriguez watched the proceedings with satisfaction. Her communication interception techniques had provided the evidence that convinced many council species to support Earth's proposal. Now she led the team implementing the new galaxy-wide communication network that would connect all member worlds. The signing is starting, she said to her colleagues. One by one, representatives approached the central platform to add their authorization to the charter. When Admiral Bennett's turn came, she paused before the document. Earth signs this charter not as a victor, she said clearly, but as an equal partner in building a better future for all our peoples. Her words were met with approval from around the chamber. Even former critics like Dralvor of the Vrel gave respectful nods. After the ceremony, a reception was held in the station's largest hall. Species that had once avoided humans now sought them out, eager to establish connections. John Carter, the diplomat who had first represented Earth to the Council years ago, found himself speaking with Elora, the Fotolan who had been one of the first to support the human proposal. "Your strategy was brilliant," Elora said, her leaf-like appendages swaying gently. The silence itself accomplished what force never could. John smiled. "It wasn't initially a strategy. It began as a protective measure when we discovered the Council's plans against us. But then we realized something important." "What was that?" Elora asked. "That fear can be transformed. The Council feared our potential for violence, for disruption. We showed them our potential for creation instead." Across the room, Kratal approached Admiral Bennett. The Maxtari military advisor had been one of the first to warn the Council about underestimating humans. "You could have built weapons," he said bluntly, his mandibles clicking. "Your ships, your technology. You advanced enough during the silence to challenge us militarily. Yet you built shield systems and healing centers instead." Bennett nodded. "We did build weapons, Kratal, enough to defend ourselves if necessary, but that was never our primary goal." "Why?" he asked. "Most species, when they discover they've been restricted, react with anger, with aggression. Humans are different," Bennett replied. "We've learned from our own history that escalation leads to destruction. We chose another path." As the reception continued, in orbit around the Council station, a demonstration of the new shield technology took place. Ships from 20 species participated, their combined efforts creating a protective bubble that could ward off asteroids, solar flares, and even weapon impacts. The technology had been developed by humans during their silence, but had been freely shared with all charter members. Similar shields now protected worlds throughout the galaxy, including former Council, homeworlds, and once-ignored planets of non-Council species. On a viewing platform, ZXT,